My next guest is the incomparable Deputy Leader of Reform UK, Mr. Richard Tice. Morning, Richard.
Good morning to you, Kevin. What a glorious sunny morning here in central London.
It certainly is. Now, first of all, I need to get your thoughts. There's several issues that we must cover, Richard. But first of all, I need to get your thoughts on this fiasco we've just witnessed since Friday, the release of this Ethiopian sex offender, the most famous asylum or notorious asylum seeker offender in Britain. Somehow or other, Chelmsford Prison not only released him, they made a big thing of it. He was confused by this, milled around outside the jail for 90 minutes, kept going back in saying, "Are you sure about this?" The prison guards said, "No, off you go, you've been released." And eventually, apparently, rather shirtily, this was witnessed, one of the prison guards said, "For God's sake, will you just leave? The station is down there on the left, now go and get a train." And then for 3 days he wandered around London. We're looking at footage of him going to the children's section of Dalston Library, you might like to know. We saw him in Dalston High Street Saturday morning, chatting away to the locals with his prison tracksuit on and his plastic bag full of prison possessions. And the police now busy patting themselves on the back. What a diligent search operation they mounted. Did they? I don't know. Didn't seem that great to me. David Lammy said, I've gone down to thank the police for their excellent work. He's got questions to answer. The prison governor's got questions to answer. And the only reason this guy was caught because two decent members of the public, two women, saw him yesterday morning at 8:30 a.m. waiting at a bus stop in Finsbury Park in North London, and the police came and arrested him. So I don't think necessarily the police should be quite so effusive in patting themselves on the back. David Lammy, I think, in more principled times, would have to resign. The prison governor, questions have to be asked about him. Accountability. We need accountability here, don't we, Richard?
Well, we do indeed. And firstly, actually, let's thank those two women who made that call, having spotted the individual, the escaped prisoner, and done the right thing and called the police. And look, that's the good news. The rest of it, frankly, is like an episode from Mr. Bean. It's such a comical farce. It really is extraordinary. And you just wonder what is going on. There's all sorts of sort of buck passing by members of the prison service. And, well, there's now going to be a statement in the House of Commons later today by the Justice Secretary, David Lammy. It's just symptomatic of the complete collapse of our institutions. You can't really trust anybody to do anything well in critical public services anymore in so many areas.
Yeah, it's a snapshot. It's a snapshot of broken Britain, isn't it? I mean,
it is a snapshot of broken Britain, and it is straight out of a Mr. Bean episode. It's just laughable. A gentleman who sort of wants to be let back into prison because he thinks he should still be there. He shouldn't have been let out. He wasn't ready to come out. The prison officers determined that he should stay out when actually he should have stayed in. And it just absolutely bonkers. And then drifting around, it looks like drifting around libraries in the suburbs of London. You just couldn't make this stuff up.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. Now, David Lammy will be in the Commons. On the off chance they allow someone from Reform to ask a question, will you try and get one in? What would you ask him?
We will definitely get a question in, and you'll have to be a little bit patient, Kevin. We don't like to pre-inform the good ministers and Secretary of States on their feet, so we leave it to the very last minute. Tempting though it is, look, it's a catastrophe at every level. I would think that David Lammy, he'll be very embarrassed. And look, in a sense, it's not actually his fault, but it's whether or not he's got confidence in the governor of that prison, in the processes. It's interesting though, isn't it, They've announced they're going to launch an inquiry into it. I wonder whether that inquiry will be set up and move rather faster than the vital, most important inquiry of all, which is the grooming gang inquiry, which of course is being kicked. The can of that is being kicked a long way down the road. So that's another question to ask the Secretary of State for Justice.
We're going to be talking to a rape gang victim later on who believes, and I think it's an incendiary line, she believes that the Prime Minister Keir Starmer and the Labour Party actually don't want this inquiry to happen, actually want to keep kicking the can down the road because they don't like the idea of what an investigation, a full national investigation, will reveal. They're worried about how it will make them look. So,
well, we know they don't want an inquiry because at the beginning of the year they said they didn't need an inquiry,
yes.
And they were forced, kicking and screaming, to finally order one. Partly thanks to the pressure from Reform UK.
Indeed. Can I get a quick thought from you about what we saw in Tower Hamlets on Saturday? A UKIP march had been planned for Whitechapel, the Tower Hamlets area. The police banned them from going into that area because they thought it would be too divisive, too dangerous. So that march was moved back to central London around Hyde Park. But what we saw in Tower Hamlets was this, what we're looking at now. People in full Hamas uniform, if you like, covered from head to foot with masks, Muslim men saying we are here to defend our community, all praying across the street. Ironically, this march that was banned was to protest against what they see as the worrying advance of the Islamification of Britain. Well, we see scenes like this, you think, well, maybe they've got a point. These are Muslim men saying we are going to defend our community, dressed from head to foot like Hamas, and praying all over the streets. I mean, this is disconcerting, isn't it, Richard?
It's truly unbelievable that is a protest and a scene in the United Kingdom, frankly. And you have to ask a sort of perfectly reasonable question, which is why the need to mask up and hide your identity, hide your faces? Is it because you've got something to hide, or is it because actually you want to appear intimidatory, threatening, and able to harass and frankly frighten anybody who might be watching or drifting by? I mean, I think it was a very, very appalling sight. That is not what normal, sensible, decent protest in a democracy is all about. That was about intimidation. That was about get off my patch. We're in control here, folks. And it seems if you are of the pro-Gaza approach, of that wing of politics, then you can pretty much now dress and do and say whatever you want. You can chant anti-Semitic chants all day, every day. No one will do anything about it. But if you're from any other political wing, then you're the wrong ones. And it's a very, very troubling development, frankly.
It certainly is. When people say Britain's getting Islamified, you look at these scenes and you think, well, maybe they've got a point. Listen, Richard, I hope you don't mind this rather awkward topic, but your fellow Reform MP, Sarah Poaching, came on to talk over the weekend, did a kind of phone-in, and the subject of kind of Christmas TV ads came up. And Sarah said that it drives me mad seeing adverts full of black and Asian people. This was during a live phone-in here on Talk. She later subsequently apologised, I think sort of saying, well, I probably framed that wrongly, not brilliantly anyway. Now, Wes Streeting picked up on this and while doing his media rounds yesterday made a real theme of it. Have a look at him.
I think what she said was a disgrace. I think it was racist, and the deafening silence from her party leader says it all. Reform is a party who think that our flag only belongs to some of us who look like me, not all of us who have built this country, built its success.
I mean, Wes Streeting, apparently he made a big thing of getting the media rounds yesterday. So everything he said, this was the translation. Can I be the next Prime Minister, please? That guy Keir Starmer's not working out. So look at me, I'm West Streeting. How about me? That's what that was all about. However, he's saying that Sarah Poshing was flat out racist in what she said about TV commercials. Do you accept that?
No, not at all. Look, this was a discussion about the sort of political correctness in the creative and advertising industry. And yes, Sarah apologised because the phraseology she used was wrong. She caused offence. She's apologised deeply for that. And that can happen in an interview. But what you do is you move on, you learn from it. And there are so many massive issues, challenges facing the country that we should be spending our time on. But of course, the Labour Party are in such deep trouble. Of course, you're going to see the likes of Wes Streeting trying to claim a particular couple of words were racist. Look, the overall conversation was a conversation about political correctness and wokery. And the truth is, Labour Party is in deep trouble. They're polling at record lows. They've just been absolutely trounced in the Caerphilly by-election. We got over 3 times the number of votes they secured. This was in the home of the Labour Party. And the challenges facing the country in terms of councils going bust, the country heading towards bankruptcy. Nothing works, as we have just touched on there. You've got the kicking the can down the road of the grooming gangs inquiry. You've got kowtowing to China. You've got giving away valuable strategic national assets like Chagos. These are the big issues that we should be talking about 24/7, 7 days a week, every day of the year. But instead, it's the Labour Party who wants to sort of bang on about division and language. I suggest they remember that they're in government. It's their job to make the lives of British citizens financially better off and our public services to work. And they are failing catastrophically at every level. So guess what? They're trying to throw a dead cat on the table. I repeat, in a perfectly reasonable overall discussion, Sarah's choice of words was wrong and she apologised. That's what you do. It's great, actually. When people have the humility to apologise, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. You learn from it and you crack on.
And I think also, Richard, we're going to move on from this topic now, but let's face it, we know what she's talking about. She's talking about woke adverts, TV commercials that we see all the time. If any of these Labour politicians like Wes Streeting would like now and again to pop into a pub and maybe meet some members of the public, you might find that a lot of people, if they don't agree with the way Sarah put it, they certainly agree with her sentiments.
Yeah, the bottom line is the Labour Party is under deep pressure. Wes Streeting actually he's a well-meaning Secretary of State for Health who is trying to do some good in the health service, and he should be credited for that. But they're just in deep trouble, and they're flailing around and lashing out, and that's the nature of politics. Look, we've got scars on the back. We keep learning every day, and we keep pushing on, and that's what we will all do, including the brilliant Sarah Poshing.
I saw in the papers yesterday, Richard, that you're all over the Sun. Very nice picture, by the way, very flattering, I thought. Talking about the extraordinary amount of waste that Reform are discovering around the country in the various councils that they've taken over, that they've won in local elections. And, of course, Zia Yousaf has sort of formed your own Doge department, the Department of Government Efficiency. And you were talking about that some councils, it even looks as if they've been giving huge £1 million contracts for taxis whereby they might not even exist. The real corruption, real waste of money on an epic scale. Perhaps you could filter it into another big story that has emerged today, that is that the Home Affairs Select Committee has issued or released a very damning report on Home Office staff who they say have wasted billions on migrant hotel contracts. They've had rings run round them by private contractors. These Home Office civil servants mostly never worked in the private sector, no financial imperative. Basically, they've been conned left, right and centre and ended up giving billions of our taxpayers' money to the Home Office to give to these private companies that run asylum seeker hotels and other services. Also, this report slams Home Office staff, civil servants, for making no efforts to make impact assessments on asylum seeker hotels. So if you take, say, the Bell Hotel in Epping, what they've done is say, oh, that'll do, put 100 migrants in there. No thought about the local community, no examination of the local community, how it will affect them. So this report couldn't be more damning if it tried. The civil service not fit for purpose, the Home Office a catastrophe, and on the migrant crisis goes in all its lack of glory. Your thoughts?
Well, the whole philosophy of DOGE, which stands for Department of Government Efficiency, is the philosophy of saving money. All of your listeners and viewers know that the waste in councils is legendary. The waste in government departments, as you've just been alluding to, is legendary. And so Zia started this process, and we're going to be talking a lot about that in the coming weeks, because we're coming up to 6 months of taking over these councils. So we've actually got a huge amount to say. It started very, very well. I'm delighted to take it on from Zia as he is focusing on the huge task of overall head of policy, and he's working very closely with Danny Kruger. And you're going to be hearing a lot from Reform in press conferences over the coming weeks about what we've been achieving to date on all of this and our plans for the future. But yes, we know the Home Office has been unfit for purpose, frankly, for about 20 years. I mean, I think it was John Reid from the Labour Party.
That was in the 90s, I think. So we're talking about probably 30 years.
Yeah, it could be. And so it seems that actually, far from improving and learning lessons, which we should all do when we make mistakes, they're getting worse. And you've got a department that's utterly incompetent, and the sort of expose by the Select Committee on the hundreds of millions, the billions being wasted. We know that some of these hotel owners have now become some of the richest people in the United Kingdom, and it's just it makes your heart weep, actually, because those in genuine need, the genuinely vulnerable, the genuinely disabled, children with genuine special needs, they're actually not getting the provision they want because all this money is being wasted elsewhere. And so budgets are unbelievably tight and taxes are unbelievably high and going higher, and the economy is heading south. I mean, the direction of travel is a catastrophe. And I'm afraid, folks, it's going to get worse before it gets better under a Reform government. Of that, I must be honest with everyone.
Richard, pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much for your time. That's Richard Tice, MP, Deputy Leader of Reform UK.